Let's do it on the wheel. The first thing I want you to work on is some impulse control on the part of the dog. When you have a dog that's on the frantic side of things, we need to first work on the dog having some control so that you can progress on the lessons. Speaking of control, so what I'm going to show you today is kind of like, it's called It's Your Choice. It's not my invention, but it's where the dog sees a reward that's available to him, but he doesn't take it. So initially I am going to have treats in my hand. I'm going to present it to the dog. And if the dog tries to mug my hand and take the treats, then I'm going to close it so they can't get it. I'm going to keep my hand stationary. I'm not going to move my hand out of the way, trying to make the dog be successful. I'm going to hold my hand there, and as soon as the dog moves away, their first reward is being able to see the treats in my hand. If the dog loses control and tries to come in, I'm going to close my hand again. So if the dog stays away, I'm going to try to get a treat from my hand and deliver it to the dog. And if at any point the dog moves forward, I'm going to close my hand. Okay? So what this turns into is a dog that can work around containers of food and not just dive into it, but wait to receive the rewards from you. Alright, so I have a handful of treats. And she does know this, so I don't know how bad she's going to be, but I'm going to present the treats right in front of her nose. I'm waiting for her to back up a little bit. I open my hand, and she moved towards it. Good. So she maintained. She didn't step forward, and so she got a treat. So my hand is still open. I'm going to reach. Good. 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 And I'm going to give one to Fee because she's being a good girl. And I'm going to kind of lower my hand, which increases the challenge to the dog because it's much more inviting. Do you see her focus is on me, waiting for me to go in and get the treat for her? Good girl. So the hand goes lower and lower. Now, you may stay at the initial part a lot longer. She already does know this, so we just had a quick refresher. So don't worry about that. That's absolutely normal. We have to allow the dogs to figure out what is going to get them the reward. Good girl. Bye. Bye. Good girl. So if you spend a lot of time at the initial part where the dog is mugging your hand, don't worry about that. The dog, it has to figure it out on his own, and each dog has its own emotional state coming into it. Some dogs have a rougher background where they didn't have a good beginning, and so they have emotional or stress issues that they need to get over before they can be successful at this. But be consistent, and your dog is going to learn that they don't just dive in and take the rewards on their own. So how do we grow this behavior beyond the beginning point? We will have a bowl here, and I have this size bowl because I can cover it with my hand should the dog decide to go and reward themselves. Okay, so I'm going to sit on the ground for this one so that I can cover the bowl if I need to. You need to back up a little bit. You need to back up. So I have a bunch of treats, and I'm going to put them in here, and I'm going to put it on the ground right away, and I'm going to cover it if I need to if she goes in for it. Good decision. Good. Good. This is for me. Yeah, I dropped it on the floor and she didn't go just run to it. Good. 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 And then you can add some difficulty, moving the treats around and stuff. You can move the bowls over here, move over there, even closer. Good decision. Good. Good girl. Good. Good. Good girl. I know. There's another way that you can work on this and really challenge the dog, and it is having the treats on a little pile, in a little pile on the floor. So it's kind of like I did with the bowl. So I have a handful of treats and I'm going to put it in a pile on the floor. If she goes for it, I'm going to put my hand over top of it. But she's already realizing what game we're playing right now. Good. Good. So now, I don't like her moving her head in. Good. So you see her move it back. Good decision. Good. So I'm going to move some around. She's doing well, so I'm going to reward her. Good. So doing an exercise like this enables you to have an open treat container and you don't have either of the dogs diving for it. They're showing some impulse control. When you have impulse control in a dog, it means it opens the doors for you being able to do a lot of other things. So when a dog lacks control, it just adds a lot of frustration to your life. Get it, and I'll release her to it.